What's going on, guys? It's Michael MGF, and today I'm going to be doing another LEGO Minecraft minifigure scale set review on the farm. And the set number for this one is 21114. The recommended ages are 8 and up, and it has a piece count of 262, while the price point is $29.99. And yeah, so here we are. I'm finally doing the rest of the LEGO Minecraft set minifigure scale set reviews. I know it's already been like a week since my last one, but I wanted to get that Arsenal and Black Canary showcase done and out of the way so I could focus more on these reviews, regardless of how late they are, because I have my own opinion on these sets that I do want to share with you guys in case you plan on getting these for Christmas. So that's why I'm going to do these reviews, and hopefully you'll be able to stick around for them, even though I'm sure you guys have already seen these sets and made up your mind. But yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning behind why I still want to do these reviews, regardless of how late they are, because I've got my own opinions, man, and I do want to share them with you guys. And for this set in particular, if you don't want to watch the entirety of this review, then personally, I would go for the cave and then put that $10 towards something else, because, I mean, while you get, you know, with the cave, you get a lot for your 20 bucks, and with the farm here, you get a decent amount for your 30 bucks. And personally, I don't know, it may just be the look of the set or something that sways me a little bit more toward you know, the cheaper set being the cave. But that was a really good set, and this set is good too. It's just like I said, personally, I would go for the cave and put that $10 towards something else. But if you still do want to get this set, then definitely stick around for the rest of this review. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so as I mentioned previously, I'm not really going to be going over the Steve figure in that much depth. I'll be doing it way too many times throughout these reviews. You can check out the previous two reviews if you want to really hear my opinion on Steve here, but it's a great new mold for the head, and I definitely look forward to painting the head. It has understandably minimal printing on the head itself and the torso, and it's a great looking Steve minifigure overall. But really what I want to talk about here is Steve and his shovel. And you can see that the shovel is, it's actually really nice, and unfortunately though, it does kind of suffer from the whole like elongated like handle, but I mean, it's not as bad with this one. It's really bad with the pickaxe, because the pickaxe's handle is massive, but this one is really not as bad with the shovel here. Obviously this is a wooden shovel molded in brown here, and it's actually pretty good, and thankfully the pixelated texture actually looks pretty nice on this one. I mean, like on the bow, for example, that I will be showing off with the skeleton here, it does not look as good, and the pixelated texture really does not work out on the bow. But when they keep it, you know, really mid down to a low level here, and they don't put too much on the tool, it actually looks okay. And the same could be said for the shovel here, and that's good, because it actually turned out pretty awesome. So I mean, it's kind of a shame we only get it in wood, though. You know, it would have been nice to get an iron shovel or a stone shovel in one of these sets, but it is still cool. The LEGO group did really nail this one. I do actually appreciate what they did with the mold here. It's pretty awesome. But I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it for Steve. I suppose I should probably discuss the pumpkin head in the minifigure portion of this video. So before we move on to the skeleton, just to show you the pumpkin head here, it's basically the exact same mold that we see on Steve and the skeleton and the creeper, and so it really works out really nicely on this one. The printing definitely looks awesome, and the different shades of black and the very, very deep orange really work out on this, and overall, I think LEGO couldn't have done better with a very simplistic looking pumpkin head like this. So I mean, overall, I think it really works out, and it's nice that they included it in this set so that you not only make it a part of your farm, but you can also swap it out so that it can avoid being spotted by Endermen and things like that. So really awesome job on the LEGO group's part. Definitely love the pumpkin that's included with this set. Now we can go ahead and get a look at the skeleton. But yeah, if you guys wanted me to go into a little bit more depth with the Steve minifigure, I definitely recommend checking out the Ender Dragon review. I talk about it in real depth over in that review that I did about 3 weeks ago. But yeah, so anyway, onto the skeleton here. The skeleton, this is exactly what I would expect from a minifigure scale skeleton, given the way the LEGO group decided to go with these figures. So this is exactly what I would expect from it, and so we get the new mold, and this time it's actually in white, which is pretty sweet, and the actual printing for the skeleton's face is perfect, spot on, really do like it, and the outline nose really does work out here. Unlike the zombie, he's got a mouth, which is a good thing, but yeah, other than that, it's just a standard skeleton body, so it has the standard skeleton articulation, being everything you can see here pretty much, so the skeleton's arms can bend, the legs can do that as well, and it's overall a great mold to use for this version of the skeleton. And so yeah, now the bow is what I was wanted to talk about about. I haven't talked about the bow, I don't believe, since the Ender Dragon review, and my only problem with the bow is probably the back area here. I think that the back area they should have completely left off the pixelated texture, because my god, it does not work. It really does not. I mean, on the top and bottom halves of the bow, fine, it looks okay, but I mean on the back half, the pixelated texture, the 3D pixelated texture, it doesn't work. It just looks really hideous. I just think that should have been left off of the mold, and that maybe they should have kept the actual back of the bow, like the actual mold itself, a little bit more square, instead of keeping it, you know, curved and then trying to make it look square by putting the pixelated texture on it, and, you know, making it really stick out and look bizarre. That's probably my only gripe with the bow. Other than that, it's actually a pretty solid mold, and it's great, and it definitely works, but it's just, once again, it's the back part that bothers me. But I mean, the actual skeleton minifigure, though, itself is perfect. I absolutely love it. So, I mean, other than that, though, that's pretty much it for the skeleton. It's a great minifigure. Alright, now we've got the cow minifigure, and I guess it is still considered a minifigure, even though, honestly, the only part of that actually makes it a minifigure would be the head. But my only problem with the cow is that it's a little bit too long for my taste. I think it should have been, like, its actual body should have been a 2x3 rather than what you see it being a 2x4, because honestly, like, the sheep is perfect. It's got a perfect size, and I absolutely love the way the sheep looks, and it's just, I wish I could say the same for the cow. It's just the cow is a little bit too long for my taste, and that's really, honestly, the only problem that I have with the cow. Other than that, this thing is freaking great, and I absolutely love what LEGO did with the legs. That 1x2 brick that we have seen dozens of times, I never thought they'd use it this creatively and actually use it on passive mob's legs, so that's really exciting for me the way they did that. That's just little things like that that make this, you know, this lineup of sets really awesome, you know, and it really, you know, makes up for the problems that these sets do come with. But yeah, so you can see that the cow, like the actual, like, you know, the white marks and the pattern are represented in 1x1 plates that you do build up, and literally, like, the entirety of its body from about this point up is just made up of 1x2 plates and 1x1 white plates for the most part, and a few little 1x1 brown plates in there too. And then also we've got the cow's udders, which are pretty much just a 1x2 pink plate, and then the head, which I've discussed previously with the cave, is the same as the spider, and pretty much the pig, the cow, the spider, and the sheep all have this same mold, and it's really freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. The printing on this one, by the way, the printing on this one is really freaking awesome. They got the cow's face nailed with this, and it looks great. I definitely love what the LEGO group did with it, and this mold, which I previously talked about, just it's perfect for mobs like this, the spider and all the passive mobs. It's just having, you know, the standard like mold that we see on Steve the zombie, you know, like the creepers, the skeleton. It's great to have that, and then like the entire back half just like completely taken out, and then like basically a 1x2 like tile, basically like just, you know, molded there instead, and then, you know, being able to attach that to studs is really awesome, and it works out really well for this one. And the cow overall, it's great. Just really wish it would have been not exactly this long, and that's really my only gripe. Other than that, LEGO did a solid job here. Now, the sheep's body is not as long, so therefore this one definitely sits a little bit better with me. It has pretty much the same base design with the legs, for example, this time molded in tan, and the exact same placement of the head. But other than that, the body is much, you know, it's obviously, it doesn't have udders, it doesn't, you know, have any pattern. It's just a perfect little sheep, and the printing on the face is minimal but accurate, and that makes it awesome for me. And I really like what they did with the face printing overall. And overall, it's a great passive mob, and it works out really awesomely. And you might be wondering, you guys know how much I not exactly dislike, but how much I guess you could say how much I dislike all these studs in these sets, but how much I understand them, because obviously you're not going to have any playability if you don't have studs all over these sets, and the same can be said for your passive mobs, because how are you going to play with these little guys if you cannot put Steve on top of them? It's the problem that you will have if they have smooth backs, so having them studded also makes sense, because you wouldn't be able to do this otherwise. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it though for all the minifigures included with this set. I honestly, I think LEGO did a great job with all of these, aside from the cow being a little bit too long, but I mean, other than that, it's a perfect set of mobs, and they're all really great. Okay, and now on to what the LEGO group considers to be the farm in Minecraft, and I guess they did come pretty close. It's just, once again, this set suffers pretty severely from the transition of in-game Minecraft content into minifig scale pieces, and I mean, while the LEGO group, for what they have available to them in terms of their own parts, I mean, they did still do a pretty great job here. And honestly, I mean, when it comes to the design and the way things are laid out, I could probably see this being done a little bit differently. But when it comes to, you know, the carrots, the wheat, you know, the sugar cane, all of that, I can't really see it being done any other way. But I mean, yeah, so in terms of Minecraft elements that are being introduced here, we've already seen the chest with the loaf of bread in it. We saw that in the cave. And then also we've got, I mean, the torches, which we also saw in the cave, and the water flow, which is pretty nice, using the 2x2 slopes in trans blue, which is really great and nice looking. We've got some sand blocks going on here. We've got the water, obviously. But I mean, we've got the workbench, which is definitely pretty sweet. And the workbench has a nice variety of printing on it. You have a printed 2x2 tile on the very top, and then you have two 2x2 printed, or 1x2 printed bricks to represent the crafting bench's detail, which is definitely pretty nice. And I think it's a great little accessory, and LEGO did it, you know, they did it justice, to say the least. But over here, I would say this is my only problem with this set, and for the most part, is that we've got wheat here, which does not look like wheat, and unfortunately this is the closest piece that I think the LEGO Group has to in-game Minecraft wheat, and fully grown wheat, to say the least. I mean, this over here is a little bit more acceptable, but not really. It's just, I mean, that's the whole thing here. It's just, when it comes to transitioning in-game Minecraft content into, you know, minifig scale form, things don't look that accurate. So, I mean, this is not exactly what a carrot looks like when it's fully grown. The sugar cane using the 1x2 cylindrical bricks is not that bad. It actually looks fairly decent. It's just really the wheat and the carrot here that make this look a little bit odd. But I mean, obviously you have the dirt here, which has some dark brown tiles, or not tiles, but, you know, 2x2 circular plates on top with the axle in the middle to represent, you know, that the fact that this dirt had, you know, a hoe was used on the dirt basically to get the wheat growing, and I think that's pretty good. And obviously LEGO Group, they do not have this piece with the axle in the center in a, you know, standard square form, so they have to use the circular version, which is fine. It's just, once again, you know, me being an accuracy buff, that I tried to mention this in my last video, I spend all of my days painting minifigures and making them as accurate as I can. So when it comes to accuracy, it's a big thing for me, and that's why I want to give you guys my opinion on these sets, because I am huge on accuracy, and there's not a lot of it with these sets, because it's just an unfortunate circumstance the LEGO Group cannot really avoid when making these sets in minifigure scale form. But over here we've got a rose, which is represented pretty nicely, and we've also got, I guess you can say, a dandelion, or the yellow flowers that we see in game, and then we've also got the pumpkin head, which you guys saw earlier when I showed Steve, which is really nice. Still love the printing on that thing. Great accessory by the LEGO Group, which can be stuck right there, and basically you can see that that's not only just the carrots, the sugar cane, and the wheat that's being grown here, but also the pumpkin. You can tell by the stems also being grown as well, which is pretty nice. And you got a couple torches, as I mentioned previously. You've got a birch tree, which is pretty nice here. And the birch tree is this is, you know, in terms of the tree's design, it's fairly interesting, using a bunch of modified plates, I guess you could say, that stick out on the side. We've all seen these pieces before. And LEGO, honestly, I mean, aside from that and the leaves kind of like sticking up oddly, it is still a really nice design, and I like how you at least have part of the pattern represented in some 1x1 black bricks there. But I mean, other than that, there's really not much else to go over with this set other than the pen here for the mobs. And I would have to say this is the most time-consuming part about building the set, would be placing each and every individual little pole here, which is it's fine. But I mean, yeah, so with this set, you can pretty much take the two mobs that you get with this set. I mean, not including the skeleton, of course, just the passive mobs, being the cow and the sheep, and you can stick them on these 2x2 available plates, which obviously have or I guess you could say tiles with the available studs on them, and these are specifically designed to, as you can see, the set is kind of fragile because it just split in half on me, because literally, I guess this is a good time to point it out now, this set is only held together by a 2x4, you know, set of studs. That's literally all the set is held together by. So that's one of the problems, is that this set is fragile. So literally what you do here is you just basically put the set, I mean, yes, you do have this 2x2 plate pretty much locking the water in, but I mean, it's really just that 2x2 plate and this set of 2x4 studs that are holding the set together. And that's a problem, because it's pretty fragile, and picking it up is not always a good idea, as you just saw. But trying to do that again, again, you can see that we've got the 2x2 tiles, as I was mentioning, with the available studs specifically meant for the cow and the sheep, and they pretty much attach just like this, and just have their, you know, their feet attached to them. It's a very simple design and pretty effective, but I mean, it's very, like I said, it's not exactly a lot to talk about there, but you do have the opening and closing gate, which is pretty nice, and these are just using some basic hinge pieces, which is really nothing too new, but still pretty nice regardless, and works, you know, it's a highly functioning set playability wise, but when it comes to, you know, obviously it's got a stability problem with how these two sections come together, and also, once again, this set, I mean, maybe even more so than others, really suffers from the transition of, once again, in-game Minecraft content into minifig scale form. But other than that, I mean, it's a pretty decent set, and you've got a lot of room for playability with your skeleton and your two passive mobs and Steve. So, I mean, for 30 bucks, maybe, but once again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I would still go for the cave and putting that $10 towards something else instead of getting this set personally, even though the skeleton is pretty awesome, and so are the rest of the minifigures. It's just the set itself, it may not exactly be the best thing I've ever seen the LEGO Group put out. But I mean, other than that though, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the box instruction manuals, extra pieces, and we'll wrap up this review. There isn't a lot to say about the box, but I mean, it's, you know, at least the box works and it does its job. That's all that matters, is getting you to buy this set basically, and you have a pretty consistent background, believe it or not, with this set, and you have the actual set obviously placed on the top of what looks like to be a hillside here in the middle of the forest, and you've also got a graphic here displaying all 4 of the new mobs that are included with this set, including Steve, and you also have the build your own creations inspiration included. I will get to the god-awful inspiration that is included with this set, and I mean, it's like inspiration, you'll see it, it's pretty bad. I'll get to it in just a second, but you can see we've got the skeletons sporting the actual size reference on the top, and then all pretty much what I've just shown you in this set, along with a bunch of action shots, and those action shots being, you know, Steve being attacked by the skeleton, the chest opening, Steve letting the mobs out of the pen, you got Steve farming over here, and then once again the build your own creations crap, which honestly is a bunch of crap. I'll once again get into that in a second here, but I mean, pretty basic box, not a lot to discuss here, but it gets the job done, and like I said, that's what matters. So the instruction manual for the farm is pretty nice, and as a matter of fact, what you see back there, that actually ends at page 50, and then that's pretty much what, you know, you build before you move on to the inspirational builds with this set, and you can see, like I said, it ends at page 50, and then you move on to basically reshaping the little stream or river, whatever you want to call it back there, that's, you know, wrapped in cobblestone, and you pretty much just rebuild that into what I guess you can kind of consider to be like a diving board slash like fountain thing, I think. But then if we continue to flip forward here, you can see we've got this. This is the unfortunate part about this rebuild inspiration. It's just, this is not exactly what I would consider to be effort on the LEGO Group's part. Basically, what they are considering rebuild inspiration here is just basically take these, you know, fence posts and just build them into a tower and or like a pillar. I don't really know what is inspirational about this, because with you know, the other, you know, with the other sets, you have pretty much them taking chunks of these set apart and just, you know, reshaping them into making them look very different. Like, for example, if we go over here and take a look at the instruction manual for the cave, you see that they pretty much take 2 major chunks of the set. They take the entire top half off and use that to pretty much reshape everything you've got going on the right side and make like a bridge and like an extension of the set, and it makes the set look much different. And but then it's like, really, guys? I mean, on LEGO Group's part, what is that? Is that really supposed to be inspiring? So I don't really understand that part. But if we go ahead and move on here, we've got an advertisement for the actual game, which we have in the other instruction manuals for each set, and then we also have this super awesome graphic, which we have also seen before, which this is what I consider to be inspiring. It's beautiful, and it really shows you what you can do if you have multiple of each set. And then we also have the entirety of the minifigure scale lineup, or at least the boxes of them, and then we have the actual sets from, you know, out of their boxes with their minifigures and the respective ores that come in each set. And then we also have this. This is what I consider to be inspiring, because it shows you what you can make if you have the farm and the first night combined. And that's really what I consider to be inspiring. Like, if I was younger and I would really look forward to having these two sets combined. Like, this is inspiring to me. This is what I would consider to be inspiring to younger audiences. So that's really awesome. They should definitely keep that up instead of things like that. And then we have an advertisement for lego.com/Minecraft, and it shows you also a bunch of different things you can create with the crafting box, which I will be reviewing very soon here on my channel. And other than that, though, you have pretty much nothing else exciting in this instruction manual. Now, let's take a look at the extra pieces. So the extra pieces with this set, there isn't a lot going on here, but what's really nice is you get an extra couple of limbs for the skeleton. You get an extra skeleton foot and an extra arm for the skeleton, and other than that, you get an extra pieces for, like, the stem, an extra piece for your torch, an extra piece for the actual fence gate, and you also have, like, like an actual stem going on here from, one of the growing pieces of wheat or pumpkin or whatever you'd like to call it, and you also have an extra 1x1 wide tile for your sheep. So, I mean, pretty nice variety of extra pieces with this set. Not a lot, but at least they're effective in case you lose any of them.
Sup?
Alright guys, and there you go, my third LEGO Minecraft minifigure scale set review on the farm. And if you enjoyed this review or maybe found it informative, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion down in the comments, as both of which definitely mean a lot and definitely go a long way. And I know these reviews are late, but I mean, if you still want to strike up a discussion on these sets, then you can do so down in the comments if you thought I made any mistakes or potentially disagree with me on anything. But yeah, so all these Minecraft sets, they kind of share the same problems that I'm trying to go over the best I can here in these reviews, and that's why I'm still doing these reviews once again, regardless of how late they are. But you can also follow me on the Twitter and the Bookface, and now the Instagrams. Links to all three of those are down in the description below, and there I post all kinds of behind-the-scenes photos and updates and preview photos of upcoming minifigures that I'm working on. More recently, I've been doing some minifigure scale Minecraft customs. I finally painted one of these heads, and let me tell you, it is a much different painting process than painting a micro mob. It is a lot more difficult, to say the least, but I still enjoyed doing it, and the final outcome was pretty sweet, and you'll definitely be seeing those relatively soon here on my channel. And yeah, so I say I just started using my Instagram, by the way. That's why I say now the Instagrams, because I just started using my Instagram, and as a freaking about time. It's been long enough. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram now, as I mentioned in my previous video. So other than that though, guys, that is it for this review, and I'll catch you later. Alright, bye! Oh, the box is fairly simple. Yeah, man, fairly simple, like a freaking pear. But if you still want to strike up a discussion, down up in the comics. Wow, wow, that sentence. Down up in the comics. Whoa, I can speak.
Tomorrow.
This is real messed up, pal.
And it has a piece count of 262, while the price point is $99.99. Oh my god, if this set was $100, I think I'd freaking die. The recommended ages are 8 and up, and it has a price point of 262, while the price point help.
It's rebuild inspiration.